Hello everyone, let's discuss today's editorial page of various newspapers. The first article is, "The world needs to stop taking water for granted." In this article, the writer says that World Food Day emphasizes the urgent need for water management, as availability or lack of water has become even more critical with increasing climate extremes. Countries face severe challenges such as drought, floods, unseasonal rains, and prolonged dry spells. With less than 7 years left to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, International Fund for Agricultural Development, AFAD, and the United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, stress the need for innovative and collaborative approaches for improved management, conservation, and availability of scarce water resources. Water availability affects every aspect of human life, especially food and nutrition security. For instance, about 60% of India's net sown area is rain-fed, contributing to 40% of the total food production. However, rain-fed agriculture depends directly on water availability, and rain and soil moisture variations can severely affect food and nutrition security. There is an urgent need to adapt to climate change by promoting technologies and practices that make rain-fed production more resilient and sustainable. Sustainable water management is critical to address the impending food and nutrition security threats. Irrigated agriculture accounts for 72% of global freshwater withdrawals, sometimes with lasting damaging effects on the sustainability of significant ecosystems like seasonal rivers and deep aquifers. Decades of poor water management, misuse, pollution, and the climate crisis have degraded freshwater supplies and ecosystems, adding to the vulnerability of small-scale producers to climate shocks and land degradation in some of the world's most fragile ecosystems. Changes in rainfall and higher temperatures also affect crop productivity, reducing food availability. The Indian government has assessed the impact of climate change in 2050 and 2080, using climate projections and crop simulation models. Without adaptation measures, rain-fed rice yields in India are projected to reduce by 20% in 2050 and 47% in 2080 scenarios, while irrigated rice yields are projected to decline by 3.5% in 2050 and 5% in 2080 scenarios. The next article is Closing the Gender Pay Gap in the Workforce. In this article, the writer says that the economic orthodoxy, popularized by Nobel Prize winner Gary Becker, has been the primary explanation for women's unemployment and underpayment. However, feminist economists and sociologists have been largely ignored until Claudia Goldin, the 2023 Economics Nobel Prize winner, argued that the solution to this issue lies in the market. Goldin argued that women's disadvantage is due to their inability to take on jobs that involve all-consuming responsibilities, such as long hours and irregular work schedules. Parental responsibilities make it difficult for women to take on jobs requiring long hours and irregular work schedules. Private equity partners who saw the deal through had the chance of getting a fat bonus and promotion. These demands are incompatible with raising children, and one partner often chooses to go on a slower and safer track, the mommy track, even at the cost of a high-profile career. Goldin blamed this inequality on greedy work that demands extraordinary efforts from workers rewarded with high salaries, big bonuses, stock options, and fast promotions. Rising income inequality leads couples to forgo gender equity within the household and concentrate on increasing family income via specialization. Her solution is restructuring a workplace that does not rely on heroic efforts, has moderate work hours, and predictable schedules. Goldin's work also echoes that of Juliet Shore, who argued that hiring 2 workers who work long hours than 3 workers who work regular hours was more beneficial than hiring 2 workers who worked regular hours. Although women's employment rates in India remain low, secular changes suggest that there is no reason why this must continue. Building on Goldin's observations, the growth of the service sector should offshoot the need for women to be paid more than men. Our next article is In Abortion Debate, a Question of Rights. In this article, the writer says that India legalized abortions almost 50 years ago by passing the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, 1971. The act allowed abortion up to a 20-week limit, but recent amendments have raised the limits to 24 weeks in certain circumstances. However, another woman has approached the Supreme Court seeking permission for an abortion, suffering from postpartum depression. and having a 6-month pregnancy. The court is divided on whether the fetus's heart needs to be medically stopped to prevent a live birth and severe prematurity. In modern obstetrics, termination of pregnancy is carried out by administering medications that induce and mimic natural labor. Before 24 weeks, the procedure of separation and expulsion is enough to stop the heart. In advanced pregnancies, a sonography-guided injection is administered to stop the heart of the fetus, and then the process of expulsion from the womb is induced. Fetal medicine experts carry out this procedure routinely across the world and India. The question arises whether the fetus has a right to survive independently of the mother. Jurisprudence in countries where abortion is legal does not recognize the rights of a fetus as such. A fetus is considered another organ of the mother and has all human rights. If the fetus is treated as having an individual identity or personhood, all terminations of pregnancy would be illegal, leading to unsafe abortions. Unsafe abortions continue to be one of the 5 common causes of women's deaths worldwide. The next article is Unleashing India's Riverine Potential. In this article, the writer says that in January, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the world's longest river cruise, MV Ganga Vilas, from Varanasi to Dibrugarh, highlighting India's national waterways. The cruise offers tourists the opportunity to experience India's heritage, culture, art, and urban landscape. Post-2014, Inland Waterways Transport (IWT) has emerged as an environmentally friendly and cost-effective mode of transportation. The National Waterways Act 2016 provided a significant boost to the IWT sector, identifying 111 waterways for scientific study, development, and operation. The National Perspective Plan of the Sagarmala program was launched in 2021, identifying specific opportunities for waterways transportation of commodities. The Inland Vessels Act 2021 (IV Act) was enacted in 2021 to replace the 100-year-old Act of 1917. These policy reforms ushered in a new wave of investments, greater ease of doing business, and exponential economic growth along the national waterways. The IV Act provided for the complete digitization of the IWT sector, prescribed new standards for the classification and categorization of inland vessels, brought uniformity in IWT regulations between states, set higher standards to ensure safe navigation and protection of life and cargo, and increased administrative transparency and accountability. The Maritime India Vision 2030 lays out a concrete roadmap for increasing the cargo share of IWT to 5%, with volumes exceeding 200 MTPA and passenger numbers exceeding 700 million by 2030. Key projects developed include multimodal terminals at Varanasi, Sahibganj, Haldia, the construction of a navigational lock at Farakka, new passenger-cum-cargo jetties at Yogikopa, Bogibeel, and Dibrugarh, and fairway development and modernization of navigation infrastructure on NW2. Despite the strong potential of the IWT sector in India, the lack of data on cargo, water draft, and terminal and cargo infrastructure availability hindered its growth. To address these issues, 3 significant digital initiatives were taken by the government.